See, in the previous class, we have completed, just a minute, account groups, right? Now, I hope I'm very much audible clearly to everybody. See, today's topic is retained earnings account. See, today my voice may be a little bit distorted because there was a marriage function in my family, right? So at the time we enjoyed a lot. So my voice was a little bit distorted. Okay. So retained earnings account. While creating the expense accounts and incomes accounts, we have to specify the profit loss account type. For this, it is compulsory to create one retained earnings account. We can define any number of profit loss account types. We can define any number of profit loss account types. For example, operating profit loss account to know the operating profit, and non-operating profit loss account to know the non-operating profit or loss. At the year end, the balances in these profit loss accounts are taken to the balance sheet. That means, especially at the time of creating your expense accounts and revenue accounts. Remember, only at the time of creating expense accounts and revenue accounts, we have to specify whether that GL account belongs to which profit loss account type. That's why minimum to minimum, we have to define one profit loss account type. But based on the business requirement, we can define any number of profit loss account types. For example, in the balance sheet, we have to, let us assume, in the balance sheet, we have to display what is the operating profit and what is the non-operating profit. In that case, we have to define two profit loss account types. One is operating profit loss account. The number two is non-operating profit loss account. So normally we go with the only one profit loss account type, right? But based on the business requirement, we can define any number of profit loss account types. First, let us do the step. Again, I will explain. Path is same as above. Means see here, if you see the material, right? Path. For this chart of accounts, this path we have to execute. So path is same as above. Means SPRO, financial accounting, or financial accounting new, general ledger accounting new, master data, GL accounts, preparations, defined retained earnings account. Chart of accounts is equal to SSKH. Chart of accounts is equal to SSKH. This is our chart of accounts, right? Click on enter. P&L statement account is equal to P&L statement account type is equal to, we can give any identification, just like they have given X. So P&L statement account type is equal to X. The account is 100, 100. The account is 100, 100. See here, profit loss account or profit loss account type or retained earnings account, right, is nothing but your profit loss appropriation account. So the balance in the profit loss appropriation account is displayed in the balance sheet on the liability side under the heading reserves and surpluses. So that retained earnings account is to be created under the reserves and surpluses account group. And the defined number range is 100, 100 to 100, 199. So we have to take a number between these two numbers. That's why I have taken 100, 100, nothing else. Now click on save. See, this is called warning message. Account 100, 100 not created in the chart of accounts SSKH. Because here actually we have given the account number, right? But we did not create the retained earnings account. This retained earnings account we will create in the general ledger accounting. but for the time being, it is only a warning message. So in any case, while doing the practice also, if you get any warning messages, just ignore them. Okay. So to ignore the warning message, right, what we have to do, you have to click on enter button. So whenever you get this request box, just click on enter. That's it. Now, here I told you, we can create any number of profit loss account types. Why? Why do we need to create multiple profit loss account types? Actually, it depends upon the business requirement, right? Say, for example, in the balance sheet, there is a requirement to display the operating profit separately and non-operating profit separately. So how do we get operating profit? Through operating profit loss account. So we have to maintain this operating profit loss account. Let us say this is type X and number is 100 to 100. Similarly, we have to define non-operating profit loss account. This is called type Y. Okay, because we get the non-operating profit or loss through non-operating profit loss account only. Let us say we can say type Y. Then account 1,01,101. Now, here, what is operating profit or loss and what is non-operating profit or loss? Here, operating profit or loss. It is the difference between operating revenues and operating expenses. See, operating profit is the difference between operating revenues and operating expenses. So what is operating revenue? Operating revenue means these are the revenues generated from the main business operations of the company. Example, sales. Remember, the sales revenue is always called operating revenue. Say, for example, see, we are in the cement manufacturing, right? So we produce the cement and we sell the cement, right? So the revenue from the sale of cement products is called operating revenue. That is sales revenue is operating revenue. Okay, then operating expenses. These are the expenses which are incurred to run the main business. Means, suppose if you have to produce, right, we require some raw material. If you have to produce the cement, we require some raw materials like limestone, right? Then clinker, etc., etc. We require labor. We require buildings, right? We require plant and machinery. And on the plant and machinery, we have the depreciation. On the buildings also, we have the depreciation. We have the raw material consumption. We pay the salaries and wages to the labor. So all these expenses are incurred to produce your cement. Means these expenses are incurred to run your main business. These are called operating expenses. Clear? Then non-operating profit or loss. It is the difference between non-operating revenues and non-operating expenses. So what is the non-operating revenues? Example, dividend on shares. If the main business is, non-operating revenues means, see, I'm sorry, a little bit confused. Non-operating loss. It is the difference between non-operating revenues and non-operating expenses. So non-operating revenues means these are the revenues generated from the business operations which are not related to main business. For example, dividend on shares if the main business is textiles manufacturing. Okay, we are in our example, we are in the cement manufacturing. We are in cement manufacturing, right? So this year we have some surplus funds, right? So instead of keeping the surplus funds in the bank current account, we have purchased the shares of other companies. Remember, your main business is not purchasing the shares in other companies. Your main business is not investments, right? Yours is a cement manufacturing company, but because we are having some surplus funds, these funds we have invested in the shares of other companies, right? Then those other companies have declared the dividend at the end of the year. Then this dividend is called non-operating revenue, right? So suppose If your main business itself is investments in other companies, then dividend income will be the operating revenue. That's how we have to decide. If the revenue is generated from the main business operations of the company, that is called operating revenue. If the revenue is not generated from the main business operations of the company and generated from other sources, that is called non-operating revenues. So in this case, suppose, for example, we have a number of buildings. So this year, one building has become vacant, right? So we have let it out. So every month we receive the revenue, rent. That rent revenue is called non-operating expenditure. It's not your renting, renting is not your main business, or real estate is not your main business. Like that, we have to decide. So in this case, right, dividend on shares, if the main business is textiles manufacturing, then non-operating expenses. These are the expenses incurred to earn non-operating revenues. Example, brokerage paid on purchase of shares. So we purchase the shares, right, through stock exchange member. So to the stock exchange member, we pay some fees, that is called brokerage or commission. So brokerage is called non-operating revenue, non-operating expenses. So whether they are non-operating revenues or non-operating revenues or operating expenses or non-operating expenses, we have to create the ledger accounts, right? So in this case, at the time of creating the salaries account, right, we specify type X because salaries account belongs to operating profit loss account. Similarly, at the time of creating rent account also, we specify the type X, right? Because rent is also operating expenses, right? Wages account is type X. At the time of creating sales account, we specify type X. Like that, at the time of creating all the expenses and revenue GL accounts, which belongs to operating profit loss account, we specify type X. Similarly, at the time of creating dividend on shares account, we specify type Y. Similarly, brokerage on shares also, we specify type Y. Like that, for all the non-operating profit loss account, for all the expenses and revenues which belong to non-operating profit loss account, we specify type Y. Then at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter or when you prepare a P&L account and balance sheet, right, the balances in all these GL accounts will be transferred to type X. What is type X? Operating profit loss account. Then the result will be either operating profit or operating loss. Then at the end of the month, again, right, the balances in these two GL accounts will be transferred to non-operating profit loss account. I mean type Y. Then the difference between these operating expense and operating revenues will be the either operating profit, will be either the non-operating profit or non-operating loss. That's how we can meet the requirements of, with the help of the multiple profit loss account types, we can meet the requirement of displaying the operating profit separately and non-operating profit separately. And one more example. See, just example, we have to display what is trading profit, right? Then what is operating profit loss and what is non-operating profit. In that case, we have to define 3 profit loss account types. So how do we get the trading profit? From the trading account, right? So trading account type X, right? Then operating profit loss account type Y, non-operating profit loss account type Z. Like that, we can define any number of profit loss account types. But normally, even the real time also, we will go with only one profit loss account type. That's why we have defined one profit loss account type. Say, for example, right, you want to define another profit loss account type, right? In that case, in specify Y, we can specify Y, then account 100, 101. Then click on save. Then click on save. Actually, I'm using a mobile net, right? Because I came out of station. I told you, on occasion of my brother's daughter's marriage, I came out of station. So I'm using my mobile internet. So if you use the mobile internet, there will be frequent disconnections, right? We have to use the Wi-Fi, but here the Wi-Fi is not working. SPRO, financial accounting new, general ledger accounting new, master data, GL accounts, preparations, defined retained earnings account, chart of accounts, SSKH. Click on enter. See, suppose I want to define Y also, right? I mean, non-operating profit loss account also, right? So specify Y, account 1,00,000. As simple as that. Click on save. So like that, again, it is giving one warning message. The account 1,00,101 not created in the chart of accounts SSKH. Just ignore the warning message. So I will do one thing. I have another company code in the same server, right? Here I'm defining Y. Sorry. In another company code, I'm defining Y, non-operating profit loss account. Now, in the company code SSPN, I'm creating another GL account, expense account. Right? Say, for example, 1,03,10, 1,03,15. Let us say. That's not one. Let us take 1,03,20. SSPN. Right? See. Go to menu GL account create. See here. It is asking P&L statement account type. I'm creating salaries rent account, for example, right? Sorry. 4,03,20. I'm just showing you the impact of creating multiple profit loss account types, nothing else. So account group administration cost. I'm taking rent as a part of administration cost. So rent is a P&L statement only, right? It is displayed in the P&L account only. See, it is asking P&L statement account type. We have created two new. So if the rent account belongs to operating profit loss account, you specify type X. If the rent account belongs to, for example, non-operating profit loss account type, you specify type Y. So at the end of the month, the balances in this GL account will be taken to either X or Y based upon the nature of the expenditure. Clear, no? That's how we can create any number of profit loss account types. So I just want to show you the impact of multiple profit loss account types. Now, I want to delete this Y, for example. See, I want to delete Y, right? This is, remember please, this is called delete button, okay? So if you notice this delete button in any screen, you can understand that you can delete that object from that screen. Say, for example, I want to delete Y. So select Y, click on delete, then save. Right? This is called delete button. Okay. Next, post input variant. Right. So this we will see in tomorrow's class. I told you, my brother's daughter's marriage is there. No. So we came out of station today. We have some muhurtam, right, at 7:30. Right. So I have to prepare myself. So I have to get ready myself. So this we will see in tomorrow's class. But if you have any questions now, you can ask me. I will answer your questions, then close the session. And I hope everybody has started the practice. And one more thing is, see, there is a problem with the geo network, right? So while creating the account groups, right, if you are using the geo network, right, the system logs off very frequently. That only it happens only the geo network only, right? So if you face that problem, let me know. I will create the account groups for you. right? I will create the account groups for you. Then you can start the practice from there. Okay, then see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
No, we have not yet discussed Abbas Rana. We have not yet discussed the year shift +1, right, or -1, because we have not yet discussed, right, the definition of own fiscal year variant. Probably, if if it is very urgent, we can discuss tomorrow. We can discuss how to create our own fiscal year variant. Then we will go for the next topic. No issues. Just to remind me tomorrow. Actually, we discuss after 15 days or 20 days like that. But if it is very urgent in your project, it seems that you are working in a project. So if it is urgent for the project, then we can discuss tomorrow. Are you working on the project, Abbas? Okay. Yeah, okay. Fine, good. I will explain it tomorrow. Please remind me. Okay. Okay, then see you tomorrow.